Johannesburg Stock Exchange has launched a countrywide search for shareholders who own roughly 4.5 billion rand in unclaimed benefits. And that's according to the Financial Sector Conduct Authority, which in 2002 issued a paper that says there is an estimated 88.5 billion rands worth of unclaimed assets across the financial sector, with over 4.5 billion worth of those benefits in the form of unclaimed dividends. For more on this story, we're joined by the JSE Corporate Affairs and Marketing Director, Vuyo Lee. Vuyo, thank you for your time this evening. We know how we got here. The FSCA did issue that paper after their own investigations, and as the JSE, you are saying 4.5 billion is what is out there in terms of dividends. Who are these shareholders you are looking for in the rollout of this unclaimed dividends initiative?
Good evening, Xolani, and good evening, Newzroom Afrika listeners. The shareholders we are looking for are people who own shares of different companies that are participating in this campaign. Now, how a shareholder could have an unclaimed benefit is through many ways. One, they don't have updated records of personal information on the share registers of the companies. Second, they could have been owners of these shares but have passed on, and the shares did not make their estate, and therefore some family members can lay claim to these shares out there. So we've got about 4.5 billion rand in assets that are unclaimed. It could be a bit more, so as this was an estimation in 2021. And this translates to 570,000 South Africans and investors as well. So we can imagine that this is an insurmountable amount of money that could make a difference in the lives of South Africans. And we as the JSE believe that it is important that we find these shareholders in collaboration with the issuers so that these assets are placed in the right hands and that shareholders can also benefit from their holding in terms of future dividends.
Let's talk about the possibility of you finding some of those beneficiaries, and let's say they are no longer on this earth, they have passed on. What happens then to those benefits when they have living relatives or offspring?
Currently, the benefits are sitting on the balance sheets of the companies who hold the shareholder registry. However, the claiming of these benefits for some of these companies can be in perpetuity. So they are sitting there waiting for the companies to claim. What we are going to do in this campaign, we are going to launch a nationwide educational drive just to let members know how dividends could actually arise in terms of unclaimed dividends, what are dividends for that matter, and under what circumstances could these dividends be lost, so to say. And we will have an inbound call center where shareholders or even members of family can contact the call center to verify the legitimate ownership of these shares. And this could be either by providing evidence themselves of this ownership, or alternatively, we will use our digital capabilities to recognize those members as well. So there are multiple channels that we want to use. This is to supplement the current tracing activities, but shareholders will have an opportunity, as well as members of family, to contact this call center that will be run by JSE Investor Services to verify the details.
The fact that in the past 5 years you've already, as the JSE, identified just over 400 million rands and paid it over to thousands of investors, including those in BEE shareholders, says that you have been doing your own work in getting those dividends, some of those dividends back. How far back is this 4.5 billion accounting for? Is it, because the JSE has been around for decades.
Absolutely. The shares have been outstanding in some cases as far back, the dividends they've been outstanding as far back as 15 years. It's as long as a client has held the share in the company and has never claimed a dividend or has claimed partially the dividend. And what we find is that there are certain share registers which are decades old where shareholders have not gone back to actually look at what dividend they may have laid a claim. So the problem is a combination of many years of unclaimed dividends. What is important though, Xolani, is that many companies have embarked on a search. They've embarked on a search through tracing services, and that's what JIS, our transfer secretary business does. It would look at what details are available and look for these shareholders. The difference in this campaign is that we are now saying, as a collective, as a group of issuers, we are going out into the market and we're educating and providing a contact number where people can actually come to us, either digitally, online, or via telephone to check. So it is slightly different, but it's not to say that there hasn't been work that has been done. This is just an augmentation, and we believe that through the power of the collective, through all the issuers clubbing together to drive this nationwide campaign, there'll be a higher success rate than, for example, the 20% we've seen in JIS.
Before I let you go, Vuyo, since this is an issue that has been there for a couple of years, currently how are you ensuring that as issuers this and companies that issue shares, this does not reoccur in that you find shareholders that don't have information or beneficiaries that have been selected? What mechanisms are you using to make sure that even when a person is late, they are actually given, their families or their appointed beneficiaries are actually given those benefits?
Most companies try to maintain their share register. They look at tracing the individuals and also family members to make sure that the contacts are updated. I think the key challenge is really the updating of details. People move, people change jobs, and also family members are not aware. So this is one way that we are trying to resolve that, by driving awareness that there is a possibility that there is money sitting on the table in terms of unclaimed dividends. What share registers are doing and share companies are doing is updating the details. What we do at JIS, for example, is make sure that through our digital communication portal, which is called ShareHub, people can actually come in, register, check which shares they own, and be able to update their details. So it's really around maintaining the share registers and making sure that we continue the job of educating people, because the topic of unclaimed dividends is not a very simple one. You do need to educate the market and let them know and let them be aware of how this can actually arise. So education and also action.
Vuyo Lee is the Marketing and Corporate Affairs Director at the JSE. Thank you for your time.